Right on.
everybody on the internet. Today I am joined by Noah Stricklin,
What's up, guys?
and we are both massive comic book fans, MCU fans. Both love
Definitely,
Spider-Man.
definitely.
Spider-Man's my third favorite character of all time. What about you?
Oh, dang. There are so many good characters. He's definitely up there. I usually alternate. Right now, Hawkeye is like number one spot for me right now because I'm reading the Old Man Hawkeye series. But, dude,
Hawkeye.
Spider-Man always comes around top three, first place, dude. Yeah. But definitely top three. Just they alternate sometimes, you know?
He's below Iron Man and Batman for me, but...
Respectable. Both great. Top three, dude, for sure.
Anyway.
It's a classic.
Of course, there have been so many Spider-Man movies, more than any other character except... would Batman or Spider-Man have more?
I feel like Spider-Man wins. I feel like he wins.
Probably. And like...
Yeah.
And he's gonna get even more. So yeah.
About time, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, No Way Home recently came out. So
it was incredible.
We are going to be discussing every cinematic Spider-Man movie. We will get to No Way Home spoilers.
Yes, big time, big time. I'm looking at my notes, and I think I just spoiled like everything cool that happens in the movie. So, yeah.
Let's go back to 2002 with the first Spider-Man movie. I am 1 year older than this movie.
Very nice.
Yeah. And I know we have different opinions about this trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly did not grow up with watching this Raimi trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really liked them that much, honestly.
Wow.
I mean, I appreciate their existence because, you know...
Oh, yeah.
They helped pioneer comic book movies to what they are now.
For sure, definitely.
Without that, there wouldn't be an MCU.
There wouldn't. For me, they're definitely some of my favorite movies of all time. I have, like, all of them on disc. And for me, Tobey Maguire, like, is always, like, that Spider-Man. When I think of Spider-Man, like, he's Spider-Man first in my mind. Like, he's like... I grew up watching those movies, and I still randomly watch those movies and clips to this day. To me, Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi, Spider-Man, he's just something special, and he just can't be beat in like his own element, personally.
That's how a lot of people feel.
Yeah. But hey, all the other Spider-Mans are great though too, man.
You know, I don't quite relate to people with people who have that same opinion.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine.
Funny enough, Spider-Man 1, I did not see for the first time until this year.
No way.
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
It
was the only Spider-Man movie of all that I didn't see until this year. I mean, I'd seen clips of it and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, right. But like not from start to finish. Well, what did you think? I know they're not your favorite, but like cinematic-wise, story-wise, theater-wise, what did you think?
Well, this is the classic Spidey origin.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I do think this one is the best of the trilogy.
That's respectable. I mean, William Dafoe's Green Goblin and the whole split personality thing, I feel like that's the best part of the movie.
Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, I think, is one of the only good things about this whole trilogy. I think he's great, you know?
He is incredible.
No one can play him as iconically or effectively as he can.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
He will go down as the best Green Goblin ever. Like we'll have like Green Goblins in the future, but nobody's going to beat William Dafoe. And I say that easily, not even a competition.
Like the distinct personalities between Norman and the Goblin, and like the voice he does.
It's so good. Attack the hearts, dude. It's so good.
And anyway, so yeah, overall, I do think this trilogy is overrated, and honestly, looking at them, they have not aged well. This movie looks kind of like a 90s movie.
I can kind of see that in a way. It definitely gives me more like early 90s feels. I can definitely see that.
Yeah, just
I can
on
agree.
a technical level and like just the feeling of the world.
Yeah.
I don't think they've aged well. They don't hold up to me.
That's a fair opinion. For me, I think they aged like beautifully. But I can totally see where you're coming from and respect that though.
And anyway, Tobey Maguire. I don't think he's a bad Spider-Man. I don't think he's great. He's just good, But
Like he's like for you, like he's like the middle. He's like the 5. Some are better than Tobey Maguire, some are not as good.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
Like he does look like Peter Parker. But didn't feel believable as a teenager.
No way.
But
yeah.
Even though he graduates high school in this movie,
Yeah,
it's still not really believable as young.
I agree with that.
I feel like all Toby brought to the role was a bunch of meme faces.
And then some. I won't deny that he did. I won't deny it. He did bring a lot of meme pages. But for me, whenever I look at Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, I never actually think of him as a teenager for some weird reason. When I think of Tobey, I actually think it in more of like a Spider-Man PS4 sense, that he's been Spider-Man for a few years. And I guess that happens towards the later, but even in the beginning, like for me, he's just like an older, more like, this is, life's terrible, but hey, I'm still Spider-Man type Spider-Man, not like a teenage Spider-Man. So I could definitely agree with that. The whole, like, he's not like portrayed as a teenager, because I never see him as a teenager ever. Yeah.
And like even like James Franco as Harry Osborn and Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, they didn't feel believable as young either.
All of them I always imagine as like 25-year-olds, just like, they're older. Definitely not high school students, that's for sure.
Yeah, anyways, yeah, like I said, this is the classic Spidey origin.
Yeah.
So, like, everyone knows this origin story. Beat by beat. Very familiar. And this has, like, the classic Spidey mythos. All those classic characters and, everything.
It's very, like, comic booky.
Yeah, very comic accurate in that regard. But, like, this is, like, set in the 2000s, modern day.
Yeah.
And, like, everything just feels very old world. And
for
some reason, I don't like it. I don't think just keeping everything classic old world like that in the modern times is a good fit for some reason.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
definitely.
And I honestly find Mary Jane in this trilogy to be pretty annoying.
Okay, I was actually as soon as you're gonna say that, I think this Mary Jane does not deserve Peter, because I feel like she's just a jerk, and she always just like swaps between, dang it, Flash and like him. Wait, did she date Flash in this one? Wait, who's the guy she rode in a car?
She dated J. Jonah Jameson's son.
Yes.
She was
I felt like. Yeah. Okay, I remember now. Sorry, I just felt like she always like swapped like partners on whatever fit her best, which isn't wrong, but like it was more in like a definitely like just some annoying teenager, just annoying. She was not a good person for Peter. He did not. Yeah, she did not deserve Peter.
And she's always like screaming, damsel in distress.
I know.
And so
dude,
overall,
I completely agree.
Regard, I have a bit of a problem with how female characters are depicted in this trilogy. Like I said, it feels very old world. I don't like it.
Yeah, that's fair. Though, what about Aunt May though? What do you think about Aunt May?
Oh yeah,
I think she's great.
Well, yeah, I did like that Aunt May.
Yeah, I liked Aunt May too. She's definitely not old. Yeah, she's comic accurate, which the same comic accurateness, like that really isn't the same age for an aunt. I mean, it can be, but
just with Aunt May in general, I've never thought that like she's ever been the right age, even in the comics.
I agree. Like that's more like a grandma. Like that's I see her as a grandma.
Peter is a teenager, and then Uncle Ben and Aunt May are like 80. So how old were his parents then?
Apparently like 100 years or something. I don't even know.
Yeah, I look at my own aunts, and I'm 20, and my aunts are in their 40s.
Yeah, so, like it's, like for me, like 16 and 30. It's like the same. Like there should not be like a 70-year-old, like a 70-year difference between them. I mean, it can happen, I guess, maybe but it's like very unlikely. Like it doesn't give me aunt vibes. It gives me more like grandparents vibes.
And some of you might be saying, why are you criticizing that? It's classic comic books. Well, yes, that may be comic accurate, but to me, that doesn't make it good.
Yeah, that's fair. I completely agree.
Anyway, so yeah, Peter Parker gets bitten by the spider and gets powers. Everyone knows that. But I don't like how he has organic web in this trilogy. I don't like it.
For me, and a lot of people included, since this was for people that grew up during when whenever this, maybe not read a comic, because I'm not going to read comics when I'm like 5, you know. I might, but like that's very unlikely. I thought originally Peter had organic webs in the comics, and then the web shooters was like a newer thing. I never knew until I looked back at the older, like web shooters is in every single Spider-Man except for Tobey. So looking back on him, it is kind of weird because it doesn't really make sense. Like, how can he shoot out like through? It just doesn't make sense. I get what they were trying to go with, you know, like, you know, he does have superpowers other than, you know, webs, you know, obviously, but I think they actually did create test designs for web shooters. Actually, I believe so. I think I've seen concept art. I don't know why they didn't go for that. I mean, they could have sold toys as web shooters. People could have built web shooters. I mean, even just a business standpoint, it makes sense for web shooters, but I don't know. Maybe they're trying to go for more of like a superhero thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and like, okay, this trilogy is honestly full of several stupid things like this. When he's in the cafeteria and he first shoots Webb across the tables, no one in the cafeteria notices.
That is the weird thing. They all kind of like laugh it off. I don't know if they thought it was just rope or something. That was weird. That didn't really make any sense. And then nobody ever brought it up ever again.
No one just notices.
Yeah, and then like Mary Jane's then sees, you know, like Peter, like, or Spider-Man swinging on webs, and she doesn't think, hang on, is that one kid that shot out webs in the cafeteria? You know, you can't put 2 and 2 together. But
yeah, then he fights Flash Thompson in the hall, does an inhumanly possible flip, and punches him all the way down the hall, and no one acts like it's weird.
Hey, dude, that's just what happens in everyday-year-old. You know, when everyone's 20 in high school, dude, that's just what happens. Okay, man, that's just what happens. Punching people down the halls.
The trilogy's just full of silly, clumsy things like that they just make it hard to watch.
I will love these movies forever, but I won't be blinded by some of the things that don't make sense. That's all completely valid. Still love them though, to death, but completely valid points. That's for dang sure.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. But the one absolute perfect thing about this trilogy is J.K. Simmons' J. Jonah Jameson.
Dude, he's great.
He is perfect.
He is
copy paste out of the comic.
Literally perfect. He's snarky. He's funny, and he's James Jonah Jameson. That's who he is. Yeah. And bring me Spider-Man. He's classic, dude. He's great, man.
Yeah, nobody ever to exist in history or even in the future will be better than J.K. Simmons in that role.
And he's a great actor too, man. Same thing with William Dafoe. Like, they're just great actors, dude. They totally nailed those roles.
Yeah, they brought J.K. Simmons back in the MCU for a reason.
Yeah, it's because that's who he is. Nobody else can be Jameson, dude. That's who he is. He's great.
Yeah. So, what do you think of like how the story plays out in this movie?
I personally love it. I think like it kind of flows pretty well for me. I've seen a lot of movies, and so I like a lot of different things. But like for like Spider-Man wise, not even like if that's a standard, but for me, I enjoy it. You know, I think it flows. You know, we get to see everything. I just think everything goes very well. The same thing with like Green Goblin testing Spider-Man's ideologies. I think that was great because like it showed like Spider-Man's gonna go through some like challenges, you know, physical and mental. People are gonna hate him, but people will also like love him. I just think it was a great like ideology of Spider-Man and origin of Spider-Man story.
Yeah, like we see him getting his powers. You know, he's not perfect. You know, he goes to the wrestling place to get money.
Yeah, and I think that's much needed for Spider-Man. Like, he needs to fail first to realize, oh, crap, I can't do that.
And because he was there, Uncle Ben gets shot.
What did you think about that scenario? Because in a lot of different ways, we get to see how Uncle Ben dies. Now thinking about it, apparently only 2 ways on live action. But what did you think about that, the whole wrestling ring? Did you think that was like a good instance for Spider-Man to be at fault for Uncle Ben?
Yeah, and that scene is from the comics and everything.
Yeah, so, right.
Yeah, but then when he's chasing the burglar who he thought did it, like I do find it stupid how the cop yells at Peter like, "You let him get away." What? You're
like what are you talking about? Yeah, that's your job. I'm not gonna get myself shot. Like, guys running around with a giant pistol is like, "See ya, thanks." Like,
yeah,
Peter just didn't want to get shot. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, and then he chases down the criminal, and
Mm-hmm.
the criminal. Does he die when he falls out of the window?
I believe it's implied that he kills him. Because in Spider-Man No Way Home, I believe he even said like he murdered the person.
But he tripped on a pipe. Spider-Man didn't push him out. So
it's probably just that classic Spidey blame, you know? Yeah.
Anyway, he becomes Spider-Man and everything, and the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, making the serum for like a military contract, I think, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
And
I think they were trying to make like super soldiers.
And creates the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
And
nothing will go wrong there. Testing
on
yourself.
Even though Willem Dafoe is great as the Goblin, I've never really been a fan of his suit.
I love his suit in a sense of like the movie. I think they've definitely made it super unique as the Green Goblin for him, but it's definitely like a different like version of Goblin, right?
Like, it's all green, which I think just makes it look too plain. You know, I wish they had like purple and stuff on it, like in the comics.
Right.
And also the
what
mask.
Like, yeah.
I do kind of like the mask.
I love the mask.
But then
it reminds me of like a
samurai
mask.
At the same time, like, because it's not emotive. You know, Goblin
That's
in the
fair.
comics and everything, you can see him emotive and everything.
That is one thing wrong with this movie that I'll say is due to the time, Spider-Man's mask isn't emotive, Green Goblin's isn't, and we kind of miss out on that great scene, which is why I think they destroyed the mask at the end of the scene. They needed to see Peter's eyes. They needed to see Peter's face.
That's why
they just took the whole.
That in any movie, like to destroy so you can see him.
You need that, but I'll give credit where credit's due. Tom's Spider-Man, the eyes, like that's so genius. Like that's genius. Like they need that because Spider-Man in the comics, like you said, he's like this and like wide open. He's such an expressive character, and there's only so much you can do with your like body.
Yeah. And I don't like on the Goblin mask how you can see his actual eyes and his actual mouth through it.
Right.
In No Way Home, they changed that, so you can't see it through there. You know, he didn't have the mask for very long in No Way Home, of course.
Yeah. It broke it. Probably because of, to see his face, because he's such a great actor.
Yeah.
But what did you think about that? Because they added on, like, drapes and cloaks. Did you think that was a better thing? Do you think... I really like that. I think they...
Yes, we'll get to that later, though.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, anyway, the fight between Goblin and Spider-Man, that's actually pretty intense.
I love it. I love it.
And, then Goblin practically kills himself.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Honest Trailers perfectly summed up this trilogy once. Like, what they say, story about Peter Parker, struggling with his powers, breaking up with MJ, and the villain practically kills himself.
That is completely true. The villains are definitely like creating like the sense of like their own like madness or hate or like villainous destroys themselves. Like that's definitely like what Sam Raimi was trying to go for. Venom kills himself. Everyone kills himself in the series pretty much.
But I find it stupid how when he summons the glider towards Spider-Man, he jumps over it, but then they have that brief shot of him going, "Oh, that is stupid to me." Oh. It's a stupid placement.
It is kind of. It kind of is. Oh, yeah. It's definitely That's fair. That's a completely fair criticism. They definitely should have just something because he was like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna die." It should have been fast. It should have been Spider-Man jumps over slow mo and then like I think that'd be much more like jarring, But yeah, I agree with that. Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Spider-Man 1 is the best of this trilogy, but I still don't love it. And,
that's fair. That's okay.
All right. How about move on to Spider-Man 2, which many people regard as the greatest of all time.
It is. Dr. Octopus is a great villain. It's because you get to see him. He's a great person. Like he's like Spider, which is I think the good dynamic between Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man is that Spider-Man kind of sees himself in Dr. Octopus. Like that's like the person he looks up to, and to see him like completely corrupt by his own thing, I feel like that's heartbreaking for Peter to see and for the audience.
And I do think Spider-Man 2 is really overrated.
Really, I
actually used to have 2 and 3 on DVD once. I didn't have it for very long though. So
you didn't set it on fire, right?
That's why I didn't see 1 until this year.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, but the plot is stupid to me. Like, he loses his powers because his life is bad for some reason. That doesn't really make any sense to me.
So, I read a lot of random comics. Are you aware with the comic where he loses his powers? Because that shot was based on a comic, but are you aware with how he loses? I don't know, but I just know that like Spider-Man does lose his powers in the comic, and like the shot of him walking away with the spider suit outside of the trash can is from the comics. But I can't. I
know more, but I think that's just him giving up.
Giving up. Okay. See, I didn't know that. I do think it's kind of weird, like his like depression or like life crisis could limit his powers.
Because that's his entire life. Spider-Man's life is never not easy.
Yeah, like he's not Spider-Man whenever he's happy or like hopeful. Like he pushes through it, but like he gets stuff done, but like he's not like over here like always like raindrops keep falling on my head. Like he's not like that whenever like Green Goblin nearly kills Aunt May or something like that, you know?
And it's stupid I find it stupid how he goes to that doctor and he says, I was having a dream where I'm Spider-Man. And it was actually my friend's dream and I was losing my powers. Like, what kind of an explanation is that?
Yeah, like I can't tell you what that means for like either that means like one like that's just like that's not enough for like a psychological evaluation. Like what's the doctor gonna tell him? Oh, it's because you need to not be in a life crisis. Oh, thank you, doctor.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's fair.
Still
love it though.
Octopus. I do think that Alfred Molina is well casted as Dr. Octopus, and I think
completely
the
agree.
design is perfect, like especially the arms, but.
Which were puppets back then. That's crazy.
Dr. Octopus was kind of a dumb villain with a dumb plot. I mean, I know that the AI was what made him evil, but like,
I disagree. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
When his wife dies, like, he mentions it, but that has nothing to do with the motivation of creating the sun thing. Why is he trying to create the sun thing? I need the power of the sun in my hands. Like, what is it gonna do? What's the point of it? That's why it feels dumb to me.
That is a fair point with the sun thing, but everything else I really do like because it's like his own creation destroyed him. And I know like with a lot of my answers on here, they're all like really philosophical, but I do like that because I feel like with that, like everything that old, like he doesn't care about beating up Spider-Man or Peter or, losing his wife. Like his heart was like kind of like destroyed during there and like only like his like real like he has just whispers constantly just telling him to do things. So I think the reason why he doesn't bring up his wife again is because I think when that neurochip happened, I think it took away like any part of like empathy for him. Or mainly.
I don't think it took away his personality. It's all still there and everything.
Yeah, but like more of like the bad sides, like it I don't know. But like at least like the way I think about it. I couldn't tell you like the way it actually happened, but for me, it kind of like just erases that like good part of him. Like, he's still there, but he's just like got taken away a few of the puzzle pieces,
And Harry Osborn in this for Onward has beef with Spider-Man because he thinks he killed his dad, and then he finds out that Peter, his best friend, is Spider-Man.
I feel like it's Harry's kind of thing is kind of irrational, but I feel like it's purposely made irrational.
Yeah, I do think that James Franco is a good Harry Osborn.
Yeah, I
don't love him.
Yeah, that's fair. I definitely think one day we will get the perfect Harry Osborn, but I don't think we've gotten the perfect Harry Osborn yet, like we've had with Green Goblin and Jameson.
We're gonna get Harry Osborn as Venom in the game.
That's true. But shouldn't that be anti-Venom?
I don't think.
Because isn't anti?
Well, look at the trailer. It is regular Venom.
Oh no, yeah, like I know, like this one's Venom, but isn't Harry? Whenever Harry has the symbiote, isn't it like usually anti-Venom though, like in the comics and like games and stuff like that?
I've only ever seen Eddie Brock as anti-Venom.
Right, that's fair. Couldn't tell you though.
People also praise the hospital scene in this when Doc Ock wakes up, and like
I don't really see anything special about it.
Yeah, what ruins that scene for me is that it turns itself into a live-action cartoon. Like,
that's true. Like with the nails,
the arms are killing all the. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The arms are killing all the doctors, and then it's dragging the doctor on the floor, and like the nails scraping, but like, nails will not be able to break through a concrete floor. It's so cartoonish, And then he does a cringeworthy no.
Darth Vader style. I don't know.
I was just about to say that.
Dude, I just don't see anything special about it. I've never like seen anything crazy. It is definitely kind of goofy, but I think like the good outweighs the bad for me in this movie. Since I think like Spider-Man having to like try to save, like Dr. Octopus, trying to get him back to humanity, and that final like, oh dang, I have to beat it. It was more of like a control thing. I don't know. I did enjoy it though. I did really enjoy it.
Another thing with these movies, sometimes in some shots it looks like he's swinging off the air. Like, when he's swinging to meet Doc Ock at the top of the tower.
Yeah.
It looks like he's swinging off the air. Where in all the movies, they make effort to show web attacking the buildings.
I completely agree. I think, once again, the reason why, like, back to the no web shooter thing, I think they try to make him, like, seem like a lot more, like, Superman-y. Because, like, back then, like, superhero movies were pretty exaggerated. I mean, like, pretty exaggerated, pretty, like, didn't make sense, I feel like they were trying to make Spider-Man more Superman-y. Like, he doesn't need to always have to worry about web fluid or, like, swinging on buildings. I think they try to give him more, like unstoppableness,
Yeah, they were pretty exaggerated until Batman Begins came along.
Yeah, and then they were like, realism's everything, which I like realism more, but I can also appreciate.
People also praise the train scene in this movie, the train fight.
I really like the train.
Yeah, I do like the train fight, but again, it hasn't aged well. But I've never understood how Doc Ock can take so many punches from super strong Spider-Man when he's not super strong.
I saw a video about that. Yeah. I feel like in this movie, sometimes they forget that Spider-Man can like punch as hard as the Hulk, if not harder. I can't remember whose power skills. I'm pretty like Spider-Man's like one of the strongest people like there. Like he can
Spider-Man
like punch.
Does have to pull his punches all the time.
Yeah, he does. But like even in the same sense of like just the way he's doing it, like you can't lightly punch that fast. Like you can go like this, like and do that, but you could be like, I don't know. Once again,
the fight is a good length, and then he has to save the train. But let's not forget with this train scene, the face.
I love the face. I really like it because for me, Toby doesn't. He's a good looking guy, but he does. For me, he isn't a model, and I feel like that kind of brings like some like sense of like he's gonna make an. He's not gonna be like saving the pose like smoldering.
Yeah, what makes his faces so mean? Where I think he tries too hard, over exaggerates them, so they look so stupid. I feel like the only reason
but at the same time, he's like stopping a train, dude. But that's fair.
I feel like the only reason they had him have his mask off there was so we could see him do a stupid face. And again, that's fair. I find him having his mask off and not putting it back on the train scene to be pretty clumsy, pretty stupid. And everyone sees his face, and even though the people say we won't tell anybody, you saved it. Like still I find it clumsy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that, but that's fair though.
Anyway, Spider-Man 3. Let's move on to that.
Why do people hate this movie? Why do you hate this movie? There we go. I love this movie.
I don't question why anyone hates this movie. I think this is the worst Spider-Man movie as well.
I love this movie so much. I really do. And the first thing you're going to probably say is like, what about the dance scene? Like this. For me, I think I saw the video about this, and not all my opinions are based on what other people think, but it's like that the nerdy kid Spider-Man, that's what he imagined someone cool and like reckless was being like. Like that's Spider-Man's reimagination of someone cool. Like that's like a nerd's like
cringe, though, Noah.
I don't cringe about it. I like it. I like it. I mean, it'd be really cringy if I saw it down the street, if I was one of the people walking by him. But as my man Spider-Man going through his little emo face.
Symbiote would do to you, it wouldn't turn you into a cringy emo.
I guess that's fair, but I don't know.
I have a collection of the comics where like he first gets the symbiote and Venom first comes around, and I liked it. It was pretty good, and like that is not what the symbiote does to him. Yeah,
I know. Yeah. I love it. I can't bring myself to hate it though. I'm sorry. I love it too much.
This was actually the first Spider-Man movie that I actually saw anything of. I remember I was with my friend when I was probably like 9, and like he put on Spider-Man 3. I didn't see all of it, but yeah, this is the first Spider-Man movie I saw anything of.
Wow.
And this is from 2007, so this is the best-looking movie, technically, of the trilogy.
Yeah, thankfully, yeah.
Still hasn't held up in every single way, though. But, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
This, other than the emo, cringy Peter Parker, the story in this movie, it feels contradictory, and the characters, they just kind of feel wrong. Mary Jane especially.
Mm-hmm. I have a problem with Mary Jane in every movie with this. I don't think we've gotten a good Mary Jane yet. She doesn't feel supportive. She feels like a whiny baby.
I think the best Mary Jane we've ever gotten is in the game.
That is completely true. She doesn't feel like this is actually a big thing I have with a lot of films, which I think we're working towards it, is that people either try too hard to make them be like, no, I'm not in a relationship with someone and I'm my own main character. And then them being like, this Mary Jane feels like, oh, you can be in a relationship and be an interesting character. Like being in a relationship in a movie doesn't mean like you have to be uninteresting. Like she has her life. She's good at what she does. And she's also like sometimes married or like in her on and off relationship with Peter. And I think the game is easily the best, like, in giving respect to her just
Laura
being
Bailey
a human
is
being.
Great in that game. And she's actually
Laura
tough.
Bailey's
she
great.
Can handle herself.
Oh yeah. Like that's
anyway,
nice. Like she's not just a damsel in distress. Like she gets caught sometimes because, dude, like everyone's gonna get caught, like in a city like that. But like she's still like respectable. She's like respectable, you know.
Yeah, this movie is also too overstuffed. It has Sandman, Venom, and the New Goblin. It's well.
Do you actually know why?
What?
Do you? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Do you actually know why that's that? Why there's so many? Why Sam Raimi put them in there?
Yeah, Sam Raimi did not want to put Venom in there, but Sony did. So they forced him to do it, and well, he didn't. He didn't do a very good job of putting it in there.
He actually had no idea who Venom was because back then, during the time, cartoons would be the Spider-Man and Venom, and Sony wanted to capitalize off Venom being super popular. But Sam Raimi's an actual comic book reader. Like he kind of had to be back then. Obviously, you can see in his movies, and he did not know who Venom was, and it kind of does show. It does actually show.
And how does Venom come into this movie? He drops in a park one night, conveniently next to where Peter and MJ were.
How nice! Don't you just love it when fate meets?
Yeah, it's a park. Where did it come from?
Yeah. You don't need to worry about that, bro. It's great. You don't need to worry about it.
Anyway, this version of Venom is terrible.
Yeah, it's not my favorite.
Topher Grace cannot play a villain. Like Venom, he says I instead of we.
Yeah.
He's
Once
too
again,
small. He's too small.
Yeah. It feels definitely more like a like Spider-Man with a symbiote instead of Venom. It definitely feels like they forgot like Venom's like his own being. Like whenever he's strapped on the spider suit, yeah, like Spider-Man's like symbiote Spider-Man, right? But like whenever like it goes to Eddie, he's still not like lanky, you know, he's like buff, you know, he's supposed to be like huge. He's supposed to be a terrible monster from space that he's supposed to fight. It's not supposed to be just a shadow version of Spider-Man. That's not how it's supposed to be. That's fair.
Yeah. I also find this movie boring in most parts. Oh, also, we get a Gwen Stacy in this movie, and I think this version of Gwen Stacy sucks.
Yeah, big time. They did not know how to like nail Spider-Man's love interests.
They didn't know how to handle Gwen Stacy in this movie.
They didn't know how to handle
it. It would make no difference.
I know. Like I literally put it there. I think they literally put it there so then Eddie could also have Spider-Man humiliating him in this job, and then him taking his girl. And I think that's literally it. Because they're like, well, if he only stole like the girl, you know, he needs something else, you know. And if he only stole the job, he needs something else.
Gwen Stacy a model, a damsel in distress. Like that's not Gwen Stacy. Mary Jane is a model in the comics, not Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, it's a little weird. They like kind of forgot to make them humans. You know, they don't feel like they have lives. They just kind of feel like they appear like whenever Spider-Man's right next to them. Like I can't imagine Mary Jane doing something outside of what we see on the screen over there because it's just. They forgot to put like a care into that, you know.
Oh, though I think the one good thing about this movie is Sandman.
I love Sandman, especially with that final "I forgive you" scene with the music. I feel like that was like perfect for Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man,
that is what
like
Spider-Man would do, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like unlogical. Like he didn't mean to kill Uncle Ben, and he was trying to save his daughter, and it was just rough. Like it was terrible for both of them.
Yeah,
and I feel like that I forgive.
Looks completely comic accurate with the shirt and everything.
Yeah, and dude, Sandman's great in that movie. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And they really make us sympathize with him.
Yeah, but the problem is, Venom being forced in there doesn't fully allow Sandman's arc to get full closure. Like,
I would love to see Sam Raimi with full creative control in a Spider-Man movie again.
Yeah, like, you know, Spider-Man does forgive Sandman, but Sandman doesn't really get closure. Where does he go in the end? You know, he didn't save his daughter or anything. So Venom,
there's actually there is a deleted scene actually where he goes and visits Penny as a sandcastle.
Is that his daughter?
Have you seen? Wait a minute. Wait, hang on. Wait, why? Hang on. Well, why didn't Penny die? No, she didn't die. No, yeah, his daughter was actually there. I'm pretty sure that was Penny. I'm 99% sure. I could be wrong, but like same haircut, if I remember correctly. I feel like that was his daughter, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
I feel like that'd be weird if he went to another little girl as a sandcastle.
Yeah, if they didn't have Venom, maybe they could have kept that scene.
Yeah. Sony has a problem with like limiting characters. Yeah.
Anyway, away from the worst Spider-Man movie, on to The Amazing Spider-Man. This was the second comic book movie I ever saw in cinemas.
Wow.
The first being The Avengers. Ever since The Avengers, I've never missed an MCU movie in cinemas.
Actually, I think that's also for me. I think The Avengers was also the first MCU movie. One of the first movies I went into theaters. Actually, I had a Hulk action figure. It was lit.
Cool. And
yeah.
I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
Same.
Underrated.
Same. Definitely. He
Like,
really loves the character.
And like, I do believe Andrew Garfield as young, just not a teenager.
Completely agree.
He does have really good cocky energy, and
oh yeah,
he brought much of a cooler take to Peter Parker. You know,
definitely
skateboarding through the school, and then when the teacher tells him to pick it up, he picks it up, and then when they're not looking, skates on it again.
Yeah, he's definitely more of like that cool teenage Peter Parker. Which isn't the cool one like Ultimate Spider-Man, right? Like in the comics, isn't Ultimate Spider-Man the more like
I don't know.
I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure there's a Spider-Man where like he's more like arrogant, cocky, like less nerdy in a sense. Like he's still like a genius, but like less like socially awkward nerdy.
Yeah,
that makes
somewhere
sense.
in the Spider-Verse, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did not grow up with the Raimi trilogy, but I did grow up watching these two Amazing Spider-Man movies. In this, they try to do something different with the origin story, make it a little more complicated, a little darker. You know, with this like science, government conspiracy connected to his parents. It's not an original kind of origin story, you know, but at least they try to do something different with it.
I did really enjoy the more like grittiness. Like it felt more serious, more like emotional.
Yeah.
More.
After Uncle Ben dies, he just spends ages determined to beat up criminals. Like it's kind of darker. Also,
definitely.
We get the best Gwen Stacy in these movies.
Emma Stone nailed it. She is Gwen Stacy for me.
Yeah,
she is Gwen Stacy.
The director is great at like directing like actors in relationships, and like so Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, they have great chemistry. Big time.
They like it was believable, and they were actually dating on set, but still, I mean, even in the writing sense, I mean, Gwen Stacy feels like I won't skip, but whenever in the movie, like it truly feels like they're in love and they like each other. It doesn't feel like fake, you know.
Oh, another thing, I never felt like the Raimi trilogy really showed Peter Parker's intelligence.
I completely agree.
Like he wasn't dumb or anything. Like, but he just never showed the genius side of Peter Parker.
Yeah. But we only really just get to see him go to like a cool school, and that's about it. Like we didn't get to see that in action.
Andrews, since these movies are based in science a lot more, we do see more of his intelligence. Gwen is also a genius.
Big time. Oscorp. There it is.
Yeah, but their relationship is so believable. Like
big time.
Funny moments with them, like when on the football field. When they're talking and a football comes, catches it, throws it back in it.
It's great. The comedy in this movie is also really funny for me. I laugh at it a lot. I really enjoy the Mark Webb movies. Yeah.
Oh, when he sneaks into Gwen's room and then her dad is outside the door and she's trying to make him go away. And you mentioned like, no, Dad, I do not want cocoa. Honestly, I'm 17 years old. Okay, I just remember saying that you want to live in a chocolate house. and shuts the door. Then Peter's like, chocolate house.
Chocolate house. I mean, hey, can't complain. I mean, that sounds like a nice house. But
Yeah.
dude, no, it's so funny. It's so funny. I love it.
Yeah, I also liked George Stacy in this.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lizard. I think the Lizard is a pretty good villain.
I love the Lizard. I think it gave me like Dr. Octopus vibes, where like Peter kind of grows to look up to him, and then like see him fail, like once again by his own creation. It kind of gave me those
Peter
vibes.
Accidentally helped create the Lizard in a way.
Like, and he's like, dang it, because that's like on him. Like, if the whole city turns to a bunch of lizards, like he helped like co-create that. Like, he's got to stop it.
Yeah, Kurt Connors and the Lizard were both done very well. I like the fight in the school, but like, if you think about it, the Lizard's plot in the end is kind of dumb. Just wanting to turn everyone in the city into lizards, but it'll wear off. It will wear off.
Yeah, and I don't think it like really like has a real reason. Like even if he thinks like it's the perfect way to live, like this is the best. Like, how does that benefit him at all?
Yeah,
it's like they gave him a weird ideology, kind of weird. But what did you think about Gwen Stacy's father telling Peter to not be with Gwen anymore? Do you think that was like uncalled for? Technically, he was right. What did you think? I always thought that was
it definitely wasn't uncalled for. He wants to protect his daughter.
It's fair. It was a tough situation for both of them. It's fair.
Yeah, it's a promise Peter couldn't keep, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie also has one of my favorite Stan Lee cameos.
Hang on.
They're fighting in the school, and like
yes, and
he's listening to headphones, he listens to the music, and see them fighting in the background. The table comes to him, and he just waves it back. He didn't know
Stan Lee's
anything
great.
happened.
He's amazing, dude. Best cameos ever. Cameo master.
So, yeah, I really love The Amazing Spider-Man.
Same
Even
here.
though it's not the perfect Spider-Man movie, of course.
One more thing before we move on. What did you think about the Spider-Man suit? Like the original, the Amazing Spider-Man suit? Like it kind of looked like.
I like it.
I loved it too. I thought it was super unique.
I like how the lenses were black. Like, you know, that's just what he starts out with. And then he eventually gets a better suit. You know.
Yeah, it's cool. You get to see like it's genius.
It's unique.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
This is a mixed one in many people's eyes.
That it is.
But
what about you? What's your opinion on it?
I still love it though. I do not hate it.
Same here.
I think
Same
it's
here.
better than the Raimi trilogy, honestly.
Agreed.
Even though it is very overstuffed and dramatically suffered from Sony's money-hungry ambitions.
Yep.
But you have to be grateful for like it not succeeding in a way, because then we wouldn't have gotten MCU Spider-Man. Right.
That's fair. To me, though, like, I love this movie again. Like, I'm a person, apparently, like, it's very weird. Like, sometimes I'm so critical on other things, like, I'm pass. For the Spider-Man movies, I really just pass. I really do love this movie. I really, really do. I really like Electro's thing. Electro's powers and his, like, design, kind of weird. Not the biggest fan of it, but I think it kind of worked with him being disfigured and like the whole world seeing him. I think it worked in that sense, but overall it would have been better. They had a bad thing with like villains' costumes in the second movie. Would you agree? I don't think they nailed any of them. They didn't nail Rhino, Electro, or Green Goblin. Would you agree?
Well, no, I don't have that problem with the costumes really, except for Rhino. This is a terrible version of Rhino.
I agree.
Why make him have a giant rhino suit? Rhino's supposed to be a meta-human.
And the fact that he was like a joke in the beginning, like he was just some dumb criminal. Like
he acts so over the top and cartoonish. It's stupid.
Yeah, he's like like in the beginning of the scene where he's like singing to the car. It was like it felt like just that dumb villain that we're supposed to never see again after like Spider-Man makes a few jokes about him. Like we were supposed to see him again.
Yeah, and I can't believe they showed the final shot of this movie in the trailer, which is him fighting Rhino.
That's so weird. It's just like they threw it in because they were like, "Don't you guys want to see a Spider-Man 3?" Yes, but like that's not enough, you know. So and skipping towards this. Well, one more time. What'd you say?
Peter and Gwen are still amazing in this, of course.
Oh, incredible! And that death scene. Speaking of Gwen, I always love when Spider-Man movies take a risk, and I have a few more to say later on, but no, I'm not going to get to that. But them killing off Gwen is something, it's always hinted like, oh no, the villain has the love interest. They actually killed off Gwen, and it was heartbreaking. And the acting that Andrew's scream is like like spine chilling. Like it gets to me. Like that is so real. Like he failed to save her, and she died from a terrifying fall. And I think that is one of the most out there ideas, and like super, like I did not expect to see that on the big screen, and I love that. You know,
and a few scenes before, they just decided they wanted to be together forever, and then he tries to save her. He shoots the web, and the web makes the form of a hand a little bit as it's coming down.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah,
I noticed that.
Her last words were Peter. The last thing she saw was Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's definitely depressing. Definitely depressing. I think it fits the dark tone. Like they were definitely crafting like a darker Spider-Man, who really had to hold himself back. Like I understand.
I do like Jamie Foxx's Electro as well.
I do. I actually do as well.
I like how they went with the Ultimates blue design, and the VFX were pretty impressive.
I agree. The only sense of like whenever I watch the movie, it doesn't bother me. But like if I'm taking like a third person like unopinionated like aspect on it, like it kind of like it like especially with Green Goblin, it feels a little weird. But like watching it, I do really enjoy like I do enjoy it, you know, because it's like, you know.
Yeah, but just the problem with Jamie Foxx's Electro is that they didn't write him correctly. There are so many scenes where he just sounds crazy. Max Dillon's not supposed to be crazy.
No, like that he lied to me
on his birthday, like Spider-Man. Like what? That is just weird. And once he gets arrested and put in Ravencroft, his character doesn't have anywhere to go after that.
Yeah, I do really enjoy the. Just thinking about, I do really enjoy the birthday scenes. I like seeing him crazy. I like kind of a crazier Electro for me. Just like I didn't know I would. I do kind of enjoy that because he's like hyper obsessed with Spider-Man and stuff like that. I did really enjoy those scenes, but it is definitely a different take on it. That's for sure.
And Harry Osborn's in this movie. Do you not like
I don't know.
Osborn?
I like the Harry Osborn, but I don't like the Green Goblin. I don't think.
I do like this Harry Osborn, but he comes off as a little too angsty for me.
Yeah,
and
which he's definitely more of that like classic rich kid guy, you know, like classic, like cliche.
And if they spent more time with him as the Green Goblin, they really could have done it better.
Yeah,
Him being the Green Goblin is such short-lived in this movie.
Yeah, that's very true.
They tried to forcibly set up the Sinister Six. You see Vulture Wings, Octopus arms, and everything. Like, why do you have a pre-built Sinister Six?
Yeah, and like, why? Like, I don't understand any of it. But do we know who that guy walking up was? Who was that?
Yeah, if you look on the internet, you can find an answer. And Mr. Fears, I think it is something like that.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I don't know the comic origins, but I just remember the name. And I wish we could have found out eventually.
Right. It's kind of a shame. That's the thing.
What do you think of the Aunt May in The Amazing Spider-Man?
I think she's the most realistic Aunt Age and Aunt May. Like, she's definitely lives up to the Aunt May. I love this Aunt May. I think she's a great actress. Plays off of Peter very well. Fits the age, you know, like, it definitely doesn't feel like a grandma thing. It also doesn't feel like too young. It just feels like a realistic like Aunt Age for me, anyway.
Well, I still think she's too old because like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the actress now is like in her early 70s, I believe. So like she was still
really?
like 60 something. So,
what?
So,
wait, really?
I think she is still too old. I also really like the Uncle Ben that we had. Like that is the most time we've ever spent with an Uncle Ben, you know.
I definitely think his death meant more, and like especially I agree. I love the Uncle Ben origin, and you know, pretty much Spider-Man trading chocolate milk for Uncle Ben.
Oh no!
But yeah, dude, you got to get the chocolate milk, man.
I don't like chocolate milk, so I don't relate.
What?
No, I really don't drink milk.
I guess your uncle has nothing to fear then.
Oh gosh, no. Oh man. Okay, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Yeah,
all right.
It's mixed, but we like it.
Yeah, we like it.
Now, on to the MCU.
Yes.
Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man debuted in Civil War, which I thought was handled perfectly by the Russo brothers.
I thought Homecoming was a great Spider-Man, dude. I remember watching the trailer with my brother after watching like 80 hours of fan theory, seeing him and like, yo, Spider-Man's with the Avengers. And that was
when he appeared in the Civil War trailer, it broke the internet.
I was like, what? He's in there now. Everything's going to change because Spider-Man is really fun to have characters bounce off with.
And I thought at the time, his screen time in Civil War, the best Spidey screen time ever. And they set up something great between Iron Man and Spider-Man. And then he finally did his own movie.
It was definitely the most hyped I've ever been. Because, like, for me, like, I was so young when I watched, I still watch those Raimi trilogy, but I was, so I was, that was my first thing and I loved it. And then The Amazing Spider-Man, I was hyped, but, it wasn't like, I wasn't expecting, like, Spider-Man 2 to come out, whenever a trailer. But I remember watching Civil War, seeing Black Panther, I'm like, oh, yo, Black Panther! And then Spider-Man, that was the most hyped. I'm like, what? That was definitely the most hyped I've ever been to see such a beloved character.
I don't know how many times I watched that Civil War trailer.
I watched it over and over, and so many theories and things like that. That was the most fun ever. And that movie was good. Lived up to the hype.
Anyway, I think Tom Holland is the best, the perfect Spider-Man. He has the comic accurate, witty banter.
Mm-hmm.
He has the intelligence. He has the socially awkwardness. And he looks young. He has the youthful energy and everything.
I think we're going to have the same dynamic with your thoughts on the Sam Raimi trilogy and mine. For me, I was excited to see the movie. I was excited to see Spider-Man. But for me, it didn't hit the mark for me. It didn't. It really didn't. I felt like he didn't really... I felt like he was cleaning up Iron Man's mess. And I feel like he lacked an origin to shape him. Like, he goes through hard things, But I felt like he lacked that, which my opinion's changed now, not in these movies, but on Tom Holland. We'll get to that later. But during those movies, it just feels like he's living in Iron Man's shadow, and he feels like he hasn't gone through that heavy weight yet. He has, but it doesn't feel like that. Like, he doesn't have his Uncle Ben that dies. And I know they didn't want to, like, redo Uncle Ben for, like, the 8 millionth time. They didn't want to do that, which is, totally fine. But it just felt like he lacked that for me. Like, he lacked that, like, oh, I was beating the crap out of people. It lacked that I was started down a dark path, and now I know what to do right. For me, that's what it lacked. But yeah,
well, they didn't. With the MCU, they want and have to do things that have never been done before with Spider-Man. So they didn't want to redo the origin because everyone knows it.
Yeah.
We know that Uncle Ben existed and he died in the MCU. We know that. Even though like Peter himself never mentioned it, but in Civil War he told Iron Man, I've had these powers for 6 months. When you do the things if you can do the things that I can, and then you don't, then the bad things happen. They happen because of you. I think that's alluding to Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
But,
like, for me, Homecoming Spider-Man, I don't have any problems with Homecoming Spider-Man. I do have some problems with No Way Home, but, I already kind of said that. But Vulture. I think Vulture was really good. I loved Vulture, especially the car scene. Dude, he nailed that role, especially the car scene. I will remember that. That's probably my favorite scene from the whole movie. Like, him looking up in the dashboard.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Dude, it was like, you're good old Spider-Man. Like, oh, dude, that, I was like, my heart stopped for a second, and I got, like, cold chills and, like, goosebumps. And I was like, this is intense. This is really good. I really enjoyed everything with Vulture and Spider-Man in that. And Spider-Man's Come On, Spider-Man. I think that was a good Spider-Man-y. Like, I feel like in a Spider-Man sense of, like, his growing, like, the Come On, Spider-Man, where he sees Spider-Man, like, the half, like, face, half thing. I think that was great. I just wish more of the movie had moments like that. Not, like, too much, but, like, just a few more,
Oh, yeah, I love that image you're talking about, just like the Steve Ditko artwork. Yeah, this movie, why I love the MCU Spider-Man is because it embraces the fact that he is a kid. He is a teenage kid. He is 15 years old in Homecoming.
No denying that. No denying that.
All teenagers, all kids, they grow up and learn. They make mistakes. They need help to grow up.
For sure. Definitely the most believable teenager.
Tony Stark is Peter's hero. He looks up to him.
Yeah.
And, Tony sees a better version of himself in Peter. He sees greatness in him.
Yeah. Totally.
He's like a son to him.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I love Iron Man's role in this. You know, he's only in it for like 10 minutes, but
Right.
he gives him all this stuff, and he takes it away when he messes up. But then
That was a good scene
and
too.
Peter is able to beat Vulture
Prove
by himself though. With
Yeah, prove
technology.
himself too. Yeah. Probably would have loved to have some of the technology, but he did have to go through that like hurdle, you know. Which I do. I'm not like just a blind hater on this movie. I do enjoy a lot of parts of it. Like a lot of parts of it for me are like really, really good, and then it's like okay for me. But yeah, overall, I think it's. What do you think about Michelle though? Michelle, MJ.
Oh yeah, then
what do you think about
Michelle Jones? Like, yeah, I've never. Well, in this movie, I had no thoughts on her because she was just kind of in the background. But then they did a lot more in the next few movies.
Right.
I think I'll have more to say about Michelle in the next few movies. But, you know, I've never loved that character too much, but she's not bad either. She's not bad either.
Yeah, she's not bad. Yeah, I feel like they kind of just did the MJ thing, so people would be like, "Oh, that's gonna be." Yeah, it's a reference, which is all right for me. I don't hate her. I think she's a good actress and stuff like that. I think it works for Tom, but I don't think it like really worked like anywhere else.
You know, Tom and Zendaya are together in real life.
I do. Did you know the like directors or like someone up high actually told them?
I saw that.
Told them to stop dating. Like, dude, why? Like, they're dating in the movie. Don't you want the most realistic, like, actual real chemistry, like in the movie?
And
like,
that's their business.
Yeah, that's their business. You don't get to tell them. I don't care. And that's why they're still dating.
Anyway, instead of doing the Spidey origin, with the MCU opted to do him being Spider-Man, like discovering what Spider-Man is, and he struggles. Like when he's in Washington, when he's up on the Washington Monument.
Okay. So I couldn't remember what Washington. I don't remember the Washington part.
Yeah. Well, when he's up that high, he's scared. He's like, "Oh, I've never been up this high before."
Mm-hmm.
And
oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah,
and this movie gives us a very grounded view of the MCU. Like, what does a modern day high school look like in the MCU? You see a bunch of girls saying like, "Oh, I'd F Thor, marry Iron Man, kill Hulk." You know?
Yeah, it's just like they treat them like they're celebrities, you know, because that's what they are. Like they're celebrities that save the world. Like it's neat when they see that and they don't like ignore that. You know, like superheroes have saved the world from a bunch of aliens. Like you can forget that.
Treated him as a celebrity.
Yeah,
I love that too.
It's great.
Yeah, John Watts did a great job of nailing down on the high school aspect of this movie.
That is something I don't think anyone will argue about. It's definitely the most like, oh, Peter's actually a kid in high school that we've like ever seen. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like how it's like a believable. It's not like a cringy old stereotypical high school, you know, where like
it's a real
get wedgies in lockers and stuff.
It's like, a real high school.
Flash does tease Peter, but like none of that happens.
Yeah, like no, it's a realistic high school. It's very realistic.
And all Peter wants to do, he wants to become an Avenger.
Yeah.
At this point, he doesn't care about school, but then he learns that he needs to.
Yeah. No, it's great. He tries to learn that balance, which is kind of something that Spider-Man always has to deal with. So I think it was a good little balance.
And I like that they did something different and gave Peter Parker a friend in Ned.
Yeah, Ned, I love Ned. He's hilarious. I think their dynamic is great. And I'll have to save it. I'm gonna write it down though, for No Way Home. But no, I love Ned. I think he's hilarious and great and a great person. The man in the chair.
Yeah, and I think that Marissa Tomei is the best and most believable Aunt May.
It's kind of hard for me because I have mixed opinions on her. I think No Way Home, she like nails it, but for me, she feels too like model-ish to be Aunt May. Because for Aunt May, like for me, like when I think of Aunt May, I think of like she's like she has too much of like the modelness and not enough of like the heart for me in the first two movies of Tom's origin. Just personally, don't hate her. I think she's funny. I think she's a good dynamic, but like we don't really get to see any of that like in the first movies, like where we get to see like the the world needs Spider-Man or anything like that. She says it, but it doesn't like feel like it doesn't like hit me like emotionally or anything like that. But still pretty good though.
Yeah, like I think she's the best age. Like Marissa Tomei is actually 1 year older than Robert Downey Jr., but she looks like she's 40 something. So that's a believable age.
Yeah, I definitely think she's like a very realistic age for like an actual aunt, though. So I agree.
Yeah, you really get in their relationship that she has raised Peter.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that. I love how they gave Spider-Man so many gadgets and suits in the MCU.
Oh,
Look at the comics.
Spider-Man
great. Has abundance of gadgets and suits.
Yeah.
And
why would Spider-Man stop creating more like amazing devices?
People complain about that though.
He's a genius. Of course he's going to try to make his life easier and cooler.
Some people complain about that. I hate it. It doesn't make him Iron Man Jr. Look at the comics. Spider-Man has an abundance of gadgets and suits with different.
It's because he's a genius. Like that doesn't make sense. Why?
Even though that was made for him by Iron Man, because Peter Parker doesn't have the resources to build that himself.
Yeah, sure.
But he still uses it well.
Yeah.
In the end, at least.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the suit, the MCU suit, how it has the black and the technology and everything. It's
definitely.
It's like the second best Spidey suit to me. It's
definitely pretty great. The eyes. That is something I wish every single Spider-Man suit could have. The eyes.
There's a motive, like we said.
And that's why he doesn't have to take off his mask in like a lot of the important scenes. Of course, they're still going to take it off sometimes, but like still like, or at least like during any funny moments or anything like that, it definitely feels more like eyes, not lenses. It feels more like eyes, which is kind of like what Spider-Man's like.
Mm. Yeah, and like again, Vulture is a great villain.
That's for sure.
Like
he is great.
Like we get Shocker as a side villain, Tinkerer as a side villain.
Yeah, they're pretty hardcore side villains though. They're like pretty hardcore side.
And yet Liz Allen was Vulture's daughter all along.
Oh yes, that was crazy. That was a really good dynamic, and like him telling her to.
And even though Peter stops Vulture and he ends up going to jail. Like when he's talking to Mac Gargan in the raft, he doesn't.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't give away his identity because he's grateful for Peter saving his daughter's life.
Yeah, and that was Scorpion, right? The
Mac Gargan,
person.
Yeah.
My God, and the actor's Michael Mando. He's a great actor. I hope they do him because I don't know if you've seen anything from Michael Mando. He is an absolutely incredible actor. I don't know if you're familiar with Far Cry. He played Boss in Far Cry 3, one of the most...
I've seen your videos about Far Cry, yeah.
Yeah. But Michael Mando's an insanely great actor in film, television, and gaming. So I wish they would have done something with him because he can act, man. He can act. Hopefully one day. But maybe they will. Maybe they will.
Okay. So one of the best Spider-Man movies to me. Let's move on to Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse. Oh, man. I love this movie. I feel like if there's one movie everyone can agree on, it's this one. And before we forget, Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man. The best thing ever, man.
Legendary. I watched this movie not long ago, actually, just to feel something.
Sometimes I let matches burn down to my fingertips just to feel something, anything.
Oh. Just to feel something. Dude, I tell you what, dude. Nicolas Cage... I love the dude. Nicolas Cage is amazing. Nicolas Cage is an incredible actor, and him being Spider-Man is something I want to see more of, especially Spider-Man Noir.
Into Spider-Verse is Noir Spider-Man. Wherever
dude.
I go, the wind follows, and the wind smells like rain.
Wherever I go, I follow the wind. I am Nicolas Cage. Dude, I love Nicolas
All of his lines, like, we don't pick the ballroom, we just dance.
Yeah, dude, it's great. It totally nails that.
I hope we see that Spider-Man again. I hope.
Dude, I feel like a good little experimental movie would be Spider-Man Noir animated. I feel like it'd be so good. Experimental as heck, like money-wise. But I feel like it'd be great to have a little one-off. Or maybe they throw him into What If Spider-Man, like, or something like that. I don't know. Marvel Shorts or whatever. Like, what if Spider-Man was in the 50s or whatever? I don't know. But I love it.
When this movie was first coming out, I had kind of a thing with it. When I first saw the trailer, like, I didn't know as much about Miles Morales when that came out. So, like, I didn't like the look of the movie when I saw the trailer. I didn't understand it. I didn't like the animation either.
Really?
For some reason. And then I finally saw the movie in 2020, and I loved it. I don't know what I was thinking.
It's great. I think the trailers almost displayed a horror-ish vibe to it. It kind of felt scary, like in the beginning. But for me, going to this movie, I love Miles Morales. I think he's great. The main thing I love about him is in the Secret Wars comics, he carries a cheeseburger in his pocket because he's stressed. Yes. And that was like and my first like.
He fed it to Molecule Man.
Dude, it was great. And that cheeseburger helped save the world, the galaxy, the universe.
The multiverse. Yeah.
Miles Morales. He's great, though. I love Miles. I think he's such a good version of a character and how to do like a... He doesn't feel like he respects Peter Parker, but it doesn't feel like he's like a copy of Peter Parker. He's truly his own Spider-Man, and I think they totally nail Miles, and I love Miles. He's great.
Yeah, Brian Michael Bendis, the writer, he created Miles Morales in the spirit of Stan Lee.
Yeah, I mean,
that quote Stan Lee once said, like, because of the mask, anyone can imagine themselves as Spider-Man.
Which is why they didn't like have any openings of skin or like anything, like because everyone can be inside that suit. And later on, and when they made the Spider-Verse, literally everyone was Spider-Man, dude. Even a pig can be Spider-Man.
Into the Spider-Verse is a great movie. I mean, I don't love it
totally
quite as much as other people, but I still love it. It
deserves
the Oscar. And the animation brings a comic book to life perfectly.
It's great.
But I don't like the frame rate, though. I wish
really,
it had just a smooth
I love the frame rate. I love the frame rate. I think it's great.
Yeah,
it's such a unique tone. I
wish it had a smooth frame rate. I think that would be better for me.
It's a fair thing. What did you think about Peter B. Parker? For me, I have a weird thing where I like when Peter Parker goes through these things and comes out on top. Like I like when Peter sometimes has to go through a rough patch in his life. I don't think like it's just something we get to see like all the time. Like we get to see it all the time, but like not in like a extreme sense. So it's kind of cool and sweet to see like a Peter that was kind of like more like Scrooge-ish and kind of like get over that and like re-get his a broken Spider-Man. And it was great to see like him get back, into the swing of things.
Yeah, I love that Peter Parker. Like, okay, I think the best version of Miles Morales is from the game, but I think this movie is a better Miles Morales story.
I think this is my favorite Miles Morales so far. I did like the game though.
Yeah, we really see how like scary this whole experience is for Miles. Like, he saw Spider-Man die. He got eaten by the spider. He finds out his uncle's a villain, and like he learns from these other Spider-Men, from Peter B. Parker. He's a great mentor to him.
Prowler was great too. He's great.
Prowler. Yeah, Uncle Aaron. Oh, you know who voices Prowler in this? Mahershala Ali. He's playing Blade in the MCU.
Really? Oh yes, I know him. Yeah, I think he's gonna nail the role. It gives me Blade vibes.
Yeah, that was a good design for Prowler and everything. I don't think we spent enough time with him, so I didn't feel the impact of his death as much.
That's definitely for sure. I felt the emotions that were going on in the scene, but we definitely needed just something more. Like, obviously, he cared about him, but we needed, like you said, like to know him longer, like, and just needed to know more.
I think Chris Pine was a good Spider-Man at the start of the movie,
Oh yeah, because he's like the perfect Spider-Man, oh, I'm great, I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and I think it's a cool dynamic to the other one.
The opening pays homage to the entire history of Spider-Man. It even makes fun of the Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, dude, that's one of my favorites. Yeah, dude, it's great, and the Christmas albums, and it's truly a Spider-Man that's had fun throughout his life, and. Like, they kind of actually start out like Peter B. Parker, because, like, the whole intro, like, all right, let's do this one last time. Like,
yeah, we all know.
Well, yeah, we all know it. But I do, like, enjoy how, like, they kind of, like, show, like, how this Spider-Man was a little less fortunate.
And Haley Steinfeld as Spider-Gwen. I'm glad they included her.
Amazing. Yeah, and I'm glad she got another Marvel role. I think she absolutely killed it as Kate Bishop. She's incredible.
And
definitely a great Marvel actress.
Spider-Ham. Oh, he's hilarious. He's like a Looney Tunes Spider-Man.
It can get weirder, dude. He nailed it.
At the end when they go away, he's like that's all, folks. And then Miles says, "Can he say that legally?"
Dude, it's great. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. I love it. They definitely didn't hold back. They brought out all the weird Spider-Mans and the cool ones as well.
And they went with that anime robot Penny Parker.
Yeah, Penny
Of
Parker.
all the ones they went with, that they could have went with, they went with that one. I don't really like
I,
that version.
I like Penny Parker. I think it was a very extreme thing that's kind of like very different and like I like it. I like it. I think it really shows all the weird things because you need to have the cool Spider-Man, Spider-Man Noir, the real quote unquote real Spider-Man, Miles and Peter, and then you can have the weird ones like Spider-Ham and Anime Penny stuff like that. I like it.
There's so many great scenes like the leap of faith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the leap of faith, that was great, and I thought it was hilarious when he walked up and he was like, "I could do this," and then he like walks down like, "I can't do this." Like that's so realistic. Like you can't you probably can, but like I'm just gonna jump off a building and swing. Like no, you got to think about that somewhere. He's like, "I can't do this," and like
and
walks.
I love how he beats Kingpin with the
hey, yeah, dude, it was great. Kingpin, what did you think about Kingpin?
Yeah, Liev Schreiber did a pretty good Kingpin here. He's so exaggeratingly big.
It's kind of hilarious.
Looks like this.
Oh, Spider-Man, dude.
And he has a good
truly brings out that 99% muscle vibes. Yeah.
And next year we're getting Across the Spider-Verse Part 1.
I'm hyped.
Give me more of 2099 Spider-Man.
Dude, I love 2099 Spider-Man. With who?
Voiced by Oscar Isaac.
Dude, he's gonna be great, and he also is playing Moon Knight. It seems like they're using a lot of voice actors on here to be on the Marvel TV shows. Which, hey, I am not complaining.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac had one bad Marvel role, Apocalypse. Now he's going on to 2 better ones.
Yeah, I'm a huge X-Men fan, and I still haven't seen. Wait, no, I've seen Apocalypse. I just haven't seen New Phoenix. I'm kind of scared.
Phoenix, you don't need to. Don't.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, so I guess anyway. Why not?
Far From Home.
Yes. What do you think about Far From Home?
Loved it.
Same.
The MCU movie after Endgame, and it did a great job of living up to it. At the time, it was the highest-grossing Spidey movie. Now that's going to be No Way Home.
And No Way Home totally deserves it. But I actually do like Far From Home. I don't know, maybe it's because it's not supposed to be a origin story. Homecoming wasn't supposed to be an origin story either. Like in my mind, like a first one kind of needs to set that ground. But like with Peter going there and meeting Mysterio and the whole illusion scene with like all the amazing transitions and like him like fully showing Spidey sense, loved it. That was some of the coolest visuals I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, and I'm so glad the MCU has allowed Spider-Man to be with the Avengers. The Avengers took Spider-Man to space, fought Thanos'
Yes.
Now this does something very different with Spider-Man and takes him on a globe-trotting adventure.
Big time. No, it's great.
This is all about Peter dealing with the loss of Tony.
It's rough, man. It's rough.
Spider-Man's death in Infinity War was painful.
That was sad. I knew he wasn't gonna die. I knew he wasn't gonna die forever, because they're not gonna kill off Spider-Man this early.
The way Tom delivered, I don't want to go. I don't want to go.
But it was his acting. You forget it in the moment. That's what great acting does. You can lose the whole Marvel's not gonna let Spider-Man die, and you just see that acting and you're in the moment. He totally nailed it. Tom is actually, and I think he really proves it in No Way Home for me. Is actually a really good actor. I think he's great.
He proved that in some of his other movies too.
Oh yeah, that's totally fair. I just for me, just for me, I think that is what nailed it for me.
So all about him dealing with the loss of Tony, and now he's just trying to get on with his school life and be with the girl he likes.
Yes.
But then Nick Fury comes knocking with a mission. Peter really doesn't want to do it, but Fury drags him along. Or should I say Talos drags him along.
I do love how Nick Fury, because Nick Fury is really someone influential in Spider-Man's life in the Avengers. We get to see a lot of Nick Fury and Spider-Man in comics and TV shows for me, or at least that I've seen. And I think it was great to see Spider-Man and Nick Fury together,
them up
talking.
In the movie was unexpected, but great.
Yeah, it was great.
Actually, Nick Fury, of course.
Yeah, right, but still,
I
pretty
also
great.
love Happy's role in this movie.
Oh, he's amazing.
He was one of the best things about it.
Oh yeah,
he's an Iron Man character, but then he gets a great relationship with Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, I love Happy's character as well. He's funny, he's good, he's great.
And I love how he helps him in the final battle.
Right. No, he's awesome.
And speaking of, I think Mysterio in this movie is the best Spider-Man movie villain we've ever gotten.
Ever.
Yes.
Wow, I wouldn't go that far, but he's great. I think
he's great. Yeah.
He's amazing.
Mysterio is my second favorite Spider-Man villain of all.
Who's your first?
Venom.
That's fair. That's totally fair.
In the movies, I think Mysterio is the best Spider-Man movie villain of all.
Oh yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal nailed it.
Jake Gyllenhaal is a great actor.
They made a silly villain like Mysterio work in live action somehow, with the fishbowl and everything.
He was actually going to be in Spider-Man 4 in the Sam Raimi trilogy, actually. Did you know that?
Yeah, apparently Bruce Campbell was supposed to be him.
Definitely would have brung the silliness. He wasn't even supposed to be in the movie that long, just get arrested or something. But I do think Mysterio is a very cool villain to have, especially with MCU CGI, which I think only the MCU has the money for.
I gave him a mocap suit.
It's funny, because that's what it actually looks like behind the scenes. Like, dude, it's great. I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, Mysterio, if you think about it, he really is a Scooby-Doo villain.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It definitely gives me Scooby-Doo vibes. I could definitely see that.
Yeah. So, like, of course, Mysterio was posing as a hero, and, like, comic fans would be able to see the twist coming.
Yeah.
So I certainly did, but it was still effective.
Yeah, still enjoyable and, like, still, like, made sense, you know?
Even though he was like scorned by Iron Man.
Yeah.
At least he has a great motive. I don't have a problem with him being Iron Man mess. You know.
Yeah, sure, that's fair.
Yeah, and the elementals to cover up his fake plot, like I love it honestly.
Yes.
It gives Spider-Man some unique enemies to fight, even though they're not real.
Yeah, they're not real. He puts on a whole show and play.
And like you said, the illusion battle. That is my favorite MCU Spider-Man
So good, man. It's so good.
Insane. It's unreal. It took 9 months to make that scene. The CGI.
Hey, I believe it. I believe it.
The CGI and everything. And it really puts the audience and Peter in the same position. You can't tell what's real, what's happening. And it's a Steve Ditko artwork brought to life.
And like with Nick Fury, like being like, here, like hand me, and like Spider-Man, it's like, where is he? Like, because like he doesn't give Spider-Man a chance to think. Like Nick Fury's yelling at you to give you information. You tell him, and then it's actually Mysterio, and you're like, what is even real?
Yeah, he's like,
it's great.
Now all your friends have to die.
Yep. And he's like, what? It's great. Great illusions. That was truly great.
I've watched this scene so many times. It's amazing.
It's like a fever dream. And it's so good.
Yeah. But then he goes,
if you were good enough, maybe Tony would still be alive.
That's the low blow.
I was like, dude.
Come on, man. Yeah, that's definitely messed up. Dude, it's so mean. And I don't know if we're ready to like get towards the end of this movie, and then he does one of the worst things you can do to Spider-Man, and probably the most impressive thing you can do to Spider-Man: tell the whole world who Spider-Man is. That is crazy.
A bombshell ending. Also,
revealing
JJJ.
Yes, dude. Yes. It was crazy. That ending for me, I really did enjoy this movie from start to finish. I really did. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, because
like all
that bombshell ending was pretty much the same as Spider-Man's, except
like,
I wouldn't have used the same word though.
Yeah, understandable. But no, definitely shocking.
Yeah, no, I love the final battle in London as well, and like, you know, I was always thinking Mysterio's not dead, but it turns out he actually was. I couldn't believe that.
Dude, that's what's crazy, and that made it like more like Spider-Man's a murderer. You know, that made it even worse. Which did the whole world not see like Mysterio trying to like do that? Like any of the bad things? Like, did they not see that? Because like I only saw like they want to have that's fair.
And everything.
That's true. That's true. That is true.
And this movie's also about Spider-Man learning to use his Spidey sense.
Yeah, that was a great thing. That was great. I think that was the best like Spidey sense scene we've ever seen actually in a Spider-Man movie. Because like he literally can't use his eyes. Like he just has to use his Spidey sense. So then he's doing all the flips too.
The illusions come on. He's like, "Come on, Peter Tingle," and then he beats Mysterio and catches the guns. Like, you can't trick me anymore.
That was great. That was great. I was not expecting that either. Yeah.
I loved Far From Home so much.
It was great. I don't get why people disliked it. I thought it was amazing. Yeah.
All right. And that leads us to No Way Home.
Massive spoilers, guys. We told you earlier. We'll tell you again. Massive spoilers. Not even funny. We're spoiling the whole movie. You guys ready? Okay.
Yeah. No Way Home. My gosh. Most mind-blowing thing since Endgame. It's the best Spidey movie ever.
It is, because the one thing I can't decide on is which movie had the best villains, which movie had the best Spider-Man, and this movie said, we'll just bring them all in, and now it's my favorite, because I don't have to choose anymore.
The internet was also the worst enemy of this movie.
True.
I
True.
wish the internet did not say anything about certain people showing up.
And the interviewers. Interviewers, terrible, too. Harassing Andrew, harassing the paparazzi. Some interviewers, man, they're terrible. Because the thing with me was, if Andrew isn't in the movie, then, like, all those people's interviews were wasted. Like Andrew wouldn't be doing 80 million interviews and about him being in Spider-Man. He's like, I'm not in Spider-Man, it's a Photoshop. Like, if it wasn't real, you know?
Oh, God,
Yeah.
it's hot here.
Yeah, dude. I get you, man. I have to turn off the fan so it doesn't, like, glare in the mic.
I don't have my air conditioner on because of the recording.
Dude, that's what we have to do, guys. Like, any people that aren't YouTubers or Twitch streamers, dude, we have to turn off fans and heaters so you guys can't hear it.
That's why being a YouTuber in Australia is crap.
Yeah, dude, and you're in Australia, man. That's gotta be even worse.
28 degrees right now. It feels hotter than that. Anyway,
Dude,
back to Spider-Man.
Yeah, back to Spider-Man.
A lot of people are hyped because of who might show up in this movie. I was never going to expect it, even though the internet talked about it. But I was hyped for the next chapter of Peter's story. How's he going to deal with the identity being revealed? And the plot was very compelling.
I loved the plot. Everything made sense for me. There was a reason.
My theory was that he was not going to solve his identity crisis in this movie, but then he did.
Yeah, he did. For a super sad way, too, though. Like, Peter doesn't exist anymore.
Well, he does.
That is so heartbreaking. He does, but, like, nobody knows. Like, yeah, so like he had to leave his friends. Like, that's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, like, it doesn't erase him from existing. Like, it just erases no one knows he exists. They know Spider-Man exists, but not Peter Parker. So things like Peter's birth certificate would still exist and stuff like that, I think.
Yeah. Can I actually just say one thing before I forget? I've had a theory about this, and I didn't think it would work until No Way Home. Since Ned doesn't have a relationship with Peter anymore, technically, maybe he's still the guy in the chair for Spider-Man, maybe? I don't know. I doubt it, though. I doubt that would work because... I doubt it. But
that wouldn't work anymore.
No, that wouldn't work. But do you think Ned would become Hobgoblin?
No.
No, you don't think so? I think he's going to become Hobgoblin.
This Ned
I feel like
he's completely different than Ned Leeds in the comics. And just look at him here.
I know. But did you see how fit he got, though, recently? He got so ripped, I thought he was actually going to be a Hobgoblin whenever, like, all the other people came.
I didn't see that, no.
Ripped. Like, abs, slim. He is, like I'm not even joking. Like, like, Marvel jacked him up with Marvel steroids. It doesn't show in this movie. But, yeah, serum. Yeah, they got the super soldier serum. And I thought he was actually going to be Hobgoblin.
Yeah. So.
And Daredevil. Daredevil's in this movie. Matt Murdock's in this movie, but he's Daredevil.
I'll get to that.
All right, man. All right. I'm skipping to the end.
Up until this point, Peter has been a boy who wants to be an Avenger. He's been Spider-Boy, essentially. This movie is about him growing up, becoming Spider-Man, and discovering what it is to be Spider-Man.
It feels like an origin now. This feels like Tom's origin for me.
Yeah, I see what people mean when they say origin. But I prefer to use the word story of discovery. You know what I mean? That's
probably fair and a better description.
And this is Tom's best Spidey performance.
Easily. His acting was incredible. You can really show not only how far he's come as an actor, but the script was so good it allowed him to act even better.
Ned,
incredible.
MJ, Aunt May, I think they're all at their best here. And
yes,
this movie has a lot of villains. A lot.
Yes. And I think they did pretty darn well with the amount of villains they had to put in the movie.
Yeah, like Spider-Man 3. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. They suffered from being overstuffed. But Marvel Studios are smart. They avoid overstuffing this movie by using... They
made it enjoyable.
By using established versions of characters. Having a warranted length. That is how you avoid overstuffing a movie. And they handle each and every one of them well.
amazing. And I think they really let William Dafoe act as Green Goblin very well in this movie again. Like him talking to the mask and destroying it, and it's like split personalities. Like this, I feel like this is the most exaggerated in the best way possible split personality we've seen against Norman and the Goblin. Like he looks totally distressed, sweaty. He looks crazy because he is crazy, and it turned out great.
Yeah, all these villains, all these characters that show up in this movie, it is fan service, but they don't just show up to be cool. Everything
they're also great.
Everything happens in service of Peter's journey.
Yes, which is best of both worlds. Genius.
And Doctor Strange, he has the biggest supporting role of any other hero in a Spidey movie.
Yes. I'm so glad they put Doctor Strange with Spider-Man. I mean, the closest thing we might have gone to that is back in Spider-Man 2, whenever they gave a reference to Doctor Strange in Spider-Man 2. And Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, I feel like would have such a funny dynamic. And they really do, because you have the stern Doctor Strange, and then you have the teenage Peter Parker. And their dynamic's hilarious and great and super good.
And, Doctor Strange shows compassion to Peter in this movie. Like, he wants to help this kid that he fought Thanos alongside of.
Yeah,
but then,
definitely.
Then he forgets that he is still a kid, and he does stupid things, makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange is so annoyed by it. Like, when they come to the Sanctum, Ned says, "I can't believe I'm in the Sanctum." And he's like, "Neither can I."
Neither can I. Dude, that was hilarious.
Doctor Strange and Peter are kind of at odds in this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, because he was booked away for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Wong still got that role. He's been busy too.
Yeah, and Tom and Benedict, they have good chemistry, and like I said, Doctor Strange and Peter are a bit at odds. Like, they want to solve this thing in different ways. Doctor Strange has no problem with them dying, but Peter is against killing.
Yep.
And the mirror dimension fight, that's awesome.
That was incredible. That was another great thing of like in Far From Home, an amazing transition CGI fight. It was awesome.
And it's insane how Peter outsmarts Doctor Strange.
They're showing how smart Peter is in this movie. Like, they really do.
The MCU capitalizes on, like, Spider-Man. He's not great at coping with the real world. He's a bit awkward, but he excels at academics and science.
Definitely. It's great.
He figured out the mirror dimension is geometry and webbed up Strange. He said, "Strange, you know what's cooler than magic? Math."
Who else could do that? Who could turn that into a math equation and solve that other than Spider-Man?
Oh, Reed Richards could.
Yeah, Reed Richards, but yeah, which I hope we get to see very, very soon.
Yeah, John Watts is directing the Fantastic Four movie after all. And
after seeing No Way Home, I'm beyond ecstatic. I think he's going to nail it. It's going to be good. I think it'll be the first perfect Fantastic Four movie, or at least good one. We've had some rough patches.
We're talking about Kevin Feige.
Yeah, they're not gonna fail on one of the most amazing superhero teams, Fantastic Four.
And so all the villains, they were all awesome in their own way. They all stood out, but Electro, Goblin, and Doc Ock, they were a little more prominent than Sandman and Lizard were.
Yeah, which they weren't actually even in the movie. They had to reuse scenes, which was kind of crazy. But I think it's because Sandman's like 1 million years old now, right?
Yeah, those two actors, they weren't available for filming, so they just did the voiceover.
Hey, I'll take a voiceover though. At least they did the voiceover.
They actually they stayed true to what all those characters were, but they made improvements on them. You notice they kind of reshaped Lizard's face a little bit.
It looks way better. I did actually notice that.
Comics, Lizard has a full-on lizard snout, which looks better. In Amazing Spider-Man, it's just flat human, but they extended that a little bit, so it looks better.
It definitely looks better. But also you could totally recognize it's Andrew's lizard as well.
Sandman CGI was better. And then Electro,
incredible.
They really improved on Electro. I like how they got rid of the blue and they wrote him better.
They wrote him way better.
Foxx felt more comfortable in it.
Oh yeah, it's because Jamie Foxx is cool, and it's much more of a Jamie Foxx in it, And
I love how the yellow electricity.
About time, and when the electricity gets really crazy, they do the star. Yeah. I mean, dude, they do the star, man.
Yeah.
Gotta do. It's great. And sorry, you go.
Yeah, and I did feel like they improved Doctor Octopus.
I agree.
Like they had to de-age him, and they made I thought they gave him a better material and like a better place to go, and like they even gave closure to like what happened in Spider-Man 2 by getting rid of the AI, and he was himself again.
No, it's great. It's nice. It was great to see that, and with Tom's genius, easily that Spider-Man could save him. And I know we've probably been saving this, but this movie did another thing I would not expect them to do, and I think it made up for the lack of Peter not being able to see, at least on the big screen, or us see Uncle Ben die. They killed Aunt May in a Spider-Man movie. I would never expect them to do that. That is so brutal and heartbreaking and so out there and so risky. I would never expect them to do that. And the Goblin doing that, oh, dude, after the Goblin was like hanging out with her, being nice, dude.
My God.
And that scene made me cry. I was teary-eyed up in the theater. That was depressing, dude. Like, and the way, like, oh, maybe she'll be healed. Maybe she'll go to the hospital like Aunt May did in Sam Raimi.
Yeah, I cannot
She
get over
died.
Goblin in this movie. Willem Dafoe really upped his performance. He was the best. Like
he said he would not. Yeah, he said he would not be in another Spider-Man movie if he was just a cameo. He said, if I'm being in another Spider-Man movie as Green Goblin, you're gonna have to deliver on a good script, good movie, and make me actually important. And that they did.
Yeah, he was insane. He was brutal. Like, and he was back to Norman for a bit after smashing the mask. But then,
yeah,
like,
he was.
When they were making the stuff in the machine, and I saw like the green vial. I didn't realize it was a cure, but I thought like, oh no, Goblin's coming out. But then I found that it was a cure. But then Peter's spider sense went off. Like how they did the spider sense in this movie.
Oh, because we don't know what's going on, and he also, because the spider sense isn't necessarily here's exactly what's wrong at this exact moment. No, he has to find out what's wrong. He doesn't know what's wrong. I mean, it's easy to tell when the spider sense when you look to your right and a giant police car is getting hurled at you, but whenever you're in a room full of villains that are redeemed, and all your friends and family are there, you know something's wrong, but you have to look and find it. And I think whenever they smashed Green Goblin's helmet, I think that was almost like the Goblin is free or can't be removed, because like that was kind of the symbol of the Goblin was the mask, and like Norman breaking that was kind of like the whole like I'm done with the Goblin, like I just destroyed you, but now like the Goblin's free, it kind of like lets Norman know like I'm part of you.
When the spider sense is going off, everyone walked into the room. He's walking around like it doesn't break focus, and then he nails Goblin. I was like, oh no, Goblin's come out. Everything's gonna go to crap. And how they build the tension with Goblin, and like you're wondering, is Electro gonna turn? Like the thing to stop his power.
Yeah, because
he was one light left, and that turns the table and everything.
And that was great because when you see that, you at least for me, we were kind of misdirected into thinking the spider sense is off because of Electro. Like Tom's gonna find Electro because he's kind of like power hungry, right? But it's actually Green Goblin. It was great.
And the fight, like going down through the apartment building and everything.
Oh,
and
that was
all
awesome.
the other villains get away. Yeah, then we get to the bottom floor. And like, and you see Aunt May is literally fighting to protect her nephew.
It's depressing. That, and I said I'd add on to it later. For this redeemed. Some would say that she didn't need redeeming, which is fair. But like in my personal opinion, this redeemed the MCU Aunt May, and she felt much more like that caring and loving Aunt May. Yeah, she had more to do. She that's just a fact, and it was great.
Yeah, like Goblin was beating up Peter, like she was gonna fight him, but then the glider came.
Yeah.
It hit her. I was like, oh no, and then Goblin jumps on the glider, and I found the quote, which was, it's chilling. He goes, Peter, 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 no good deed goes unpunished. You can thank me later. Throws the bomb. Like, holy crap. Peter tries to catch it, it blows up. I was like, oh no. But then you see Aunt May get up. I was like, oh, it's fine. Then they talk, and we get, with great power comes great responsibility.
I know.
And then she starts shaking. I'm like, oh no. And then she dies.
Like, don't die. And then like she gets down and like Peter's like, help. And you're like, oh, she'll be fine. Maybe. But it's going to be a close one. And then she dies. And you're like, dang it.
And Peter, he's just like, May, what are you doing? Talk to me. Like, oh my gosh. And
it was depressing.
And Happy shows up and he sees what's happened. And
And he just
in that moment he's still trying to protect Peter. He's like, Peter, run.
Yeah, it was brutal. Are we ready to talk about it though? Are we ready to talk about it yet, or are we gonna save it?
Oh yeah, we can talk about it. Like I remember, I can't believe that they brought back Charlie Cox's Daredevil, Matt Murdock, I should say actually. Like when I saw that Kane, I was like, no, yes.
And he does have his powers, and Vincent, whatever his last name, the Kingpin. Spoiler. On Hawkeye, he said that he is the same version of Kingpin from the TV show. He actually confirmed that. He said that. I think that was part of the deal with like Marvel. Like I'm pretty sure like they're the same people. And I'm also glad that this isn't just going to be an origin for Matt Murdock, because that TV show can't be put into movie form. That TV show was incredible. Daredevil, that is.
Yeah, I hope they are the same ones, because that story's too amazing to ignore.
They should be the same, and people will go back to them and watch. But he has his powers, that's for sure. Because if he didn't, he wouldn't catch that thing and be like, "Oh, I'm just a really good lawyer." Yeah, no, that's like a sleek, like a really good lawyer. That's just a sleek, like Daredevil move. So, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man. My gosh.
They nailed it.
Ned, like I wasn't expecting it to happen, of course. But then it did happen, and I'm glad it did. As soon as Ned opened the portal and I saw those eyes, I was like, it's Andrew! It's Andrew!
And the whole theater for me clapped. The whole theater. Everyone went, woo! Like literally, the whole theater was packed. It gave me chills. It gave me chills. I saw him, and they nailed his character. And it really shows, like, you know, when like people like have been through stuff, but they're still like optimistic or like smile through the pain, you know? We got to see that. Like they weren't like all happy, like they're happy, but like they've been through crap, and it really shows. And the whole movie theater also like immediately cried for Toby as well.
Yeah.
And once again, like their faces show like what Spider-Man does to you, but like they save people for a living, but it really shows like all the hardships of being Spider-Man.
Yeah, when Toby showed up, I was like, oh. So I'm glad Andrew showed up before Toby did.
I definitely think it was. I completely agree. I love Toby and Andrew like pretty much equally. I actually can't decide between them. I think Tom's amazing, incredible. But for me, Andrew and Toby are still on top. But it's because Toby wasn't in a suit, and he's older. Toby's older, you know. But still seeing that
he looks it now.
Yeah, he definitely looks it now. He's had a stressful life, Tobey Maguire, but.
He's like 21 years older than Tom Holland.
That's what's crazy, and I also like how they don't ignore that. They don't necessarily say it, but like, you know.
And then when they meet Peter,
dude,
we have to refer to them by the actors' names because there's so many Spider-Men.
There are so many Spider-Men.
When they meet Tom, and he's crying and everything, and he's like, don't act like you know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
They are the only ones who know what you're going through.
Yeah, they are the exact ones. And how apparently Andrew went through another dark patch where he stopped holding back his punches after Gwen died, and he went crazy. I love that they added that on, because to me, and we talked about that a little bit earlier, Andrew was always more of a darker Spider-Man, if you would agree. And I think that definitely shows like that. And then, you know, Toby also being like, and I killed the man that I thought that killed my father. You know, like it was Uncle Ben. Sorry, Uncle. Sorry, he's a father figure. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know he's Uncle Ben, but sorry. I got mixed there somewhere in someone's origin. But yeah, like they know exactly what you're going through. Like,
and then they start working together to cure the villains. They spent so much time with these guys all together. The banter, everything they did with all three of them was beyond perfect.
It was hilarious, and they even subtly did the point meme where they're like, Peter, like who, Peter, like, you know, the point meme,
like sort of like they both responded.
Sort of,
all of them responded to Peter.
Yeah, it was more of like they pointed, right? They were like, they pointed. I'm pretty sure they pointed. It wasn't the exact like. They never did that. Are you sure? There was a little point somewhere. Someone pointed. I swear.
And, you know,
I swear.
You know what's funny?
It was
when they're making the cures to the villains.
Yeah.
Like, Toby is the least intelligent Peter Parker in the room.
Yeah. And like he's still intelligent, but we never got to really see it. Like he was in a class with Kirk Connors, but yeah, we don't really get to see like any of that
and
craziness.
even though I don't like that he has organic web, it's something they
Yeah.
had to mention here. Like,
Yeah, they're like,
he's
wait,
like, what
you
are
don't
they
have
for?
that?
It's like, my web can't do this. He's like, you can't do
You
that.
guys don't have these? Like what? They're like, no, we don't have these. It was great.
And then
They
they
s-
team up, and like Toby and Andrew, they're not good at being on a team because they're solo.
Yeah, and they even mentioned like, oh, the Avengers. That's great. Who is
it?
that? Yeah, what is it?
Tom, since he's been with the Avengers and everything, he
Yeah.
has to unify them. I
Yeah.
like how he was like Tom, Spider-Man 1, Toby, Spider-Man 2, Andrew.
Yeah, it's
Spider-Man
better. Yeah, and I also loved Toby and Andrew's dynamic. They felt like brothers. They felt like great friends. And the back popping scene, and that no, you are amazing. He's like, yeah, I know, man. It's like, no, you really are amazing. He's like, yeah, thanks. I really needed to hear.
Andrew said, I've always wanted brothers.
Yeah, it's great.
They were talking about enemies they've fought. Tom has fought Thanos. They can't beat that. And Toby said, I fought an alien made of black goo once. Andrew's like,
yeah,
I want to fight an alien.
Yeah, and he will. He probably will because, well, will he? Hang on, that end credit.
I think so.
That end credit. Wait, actually, no. Hang on. Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because Venom stayed on that world, and it's probably gonna Eddie left, but Venom stayed.
That's not Andrew's world though.
Oh, no, I meant Tom. Wait. Andrew said that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Andrew
my bad.
Tom's fought Thanos.
My bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't make sense. My bad. I got lost in my speculations, but I do think Tom will become Venom for a little while, and yeah, we'll get to see that.
Yeah, I am glad that Tom Hardy's Venom was only in it for that.
I love Tom Hardy's Venom, excuse me, but I definitely think it has to be standalone because I don't think that works for Venom as a villain.
He's not Marvel Studios' own Venom.
No, he's an anti-hero hero. He's a standalone movie. Like he's like a Marvel character that got his own movie, which I think that's what it has to work as. You know, that's probably the best case scenario for a Venom without Spider-Man. But that is not a Venom. Venom's literally not eating people because Eddie told him so. That's not the Venom Peter's gonna face. Peter's gonna face like that monster Venom.
I'm glad that Marvel Studios can now do their own Venom with a little bit of
symbiote. Yeah, it's great. About time.
And I honestly hate the Venom movie, but not specifically the version of Venom, just the movie itself.
Yeah, they're definitely not the best, but I do love watching them though, and I do really enjoy like Eddie Brock as Venom. I do enjoy, of course, I enjoy Eddie Brock. I enjoy Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock as Venom. I do enjoy that dynamic, but I want to sit here all day and argue about whether it's good or not.
There's so much to talk about with all three Spideys.
I know
everything they do, and you could.
It's so good.
Even with all their suits, you could still tell them all apart.
Oh, it's great because they're all so distinct.
And Tom's the only one with moving eyes.
Yeah, and can I just say that last new suit, doesn't that look incredible? It's so shiny. Well,
yeah,
do you see his new suit at the end?
Silky, brighter blue, and he obviously took inspiration from Toby and Andrew.
Yeah, dude, I love that suit. We didn't even get to see that much of it, but just the little bits I saw, that looks incredible. That looks really very good.
Classic, but still fits the MCU. But honestly, I think that's my least favorite suit of the ones he's had. My favorite. My favorite is the red and black suit.
I think this is actually my favorite suit I've seen of him. I don't know why. And then I think it's red and black, and then Homecoming's homemade suit. All of them have a really cool, unique thing that fits the story. But yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, they also gave Andrew closure.
Yes, much needed closure too.
He failed to save Gwen, and Tom was trying to save MJ, but Goblin knocked him away, and then Andrew saved MJ.
And whole theater also clapped during that scene.
I was speculating that something like that would happen, and it did.
Yeah, me and my brother were watching the trailer, and we're like, there is no way Andrew does not actually make up. I was like, what if he makes up for his past mistakes? I want to call it a mistake, but he failed to save her. But it was great, and it was sad how he started crying, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah," because he was having an emotional moment. He got to save someone else's Gwen, but yeah.
There's so many great action scenes. Like the Doctor Octopus bridge fight. I think that's better than the train fight, honestly.
It was really good. I think the train fight has something special for me because of like the whole like we won't tell like the added on sequence like when Doctor Octopus leaves and it's still the train.
And I just like how he's fighting Doc Ock in the Iron Spider and the arms take the nanotech.
Yeah.
Oh, and
dude,
like in the trailer, like how they showed like him going, "You're not Peter Parker." I don't think they should have showed that in the trailer.
No, because like what does that literally imply? Like it implies like it. There was no way they would not put Andrew and Tom, and if they did, if I was Marvel, I'd be like, oh crap, everyone's gonna be super disappointed if Andrew and Tom isn't in the movie, and they would probably hire them to put them in scenes or something like that. I don't know, but
the entire final battle with all three of them fighting all the villains at once, it was nothing like it. And then Doctor Strange comes back, and he's surprised to see 3 Spider-Men.
It's truly something I never thought I'd ever get to see.
It's
like
unlike anything done in cinema.
I know, like we can only literally dream up until Spider-Man No Way Home released that we get to see Andrew and Toby again and Tom all in some room. That would literally just be a dream that everyone would be like, yeah, they're not going to do that. Different studios, different directors, different things. It doesn't make sense. And they made it make sense, and it was the best thing ever.
Oh, then Goblin comes into the final battle, and like I love how they created this unique rivalry between Tom and Goblin in this, because he killed Aunt May, and he was hurting. He was emotional. He was
Tom
up Goblin.
He was gonna kill.
Like, yeah, Goblin said like, I may have struck the blow, but you're the one that killed her. He was gonna kill him, but he wanted to. But that's not what Spider-Man's meant to be. And Toby stopped him.
It was great, and the look Toby gives Tom, it silence speaks more than words. That the eyes, his acting in his eyes, that showed it. Like it's like
I've ever liked Toby's Spider-Man.
Dude, he's incredible. Like for me, like that scene that you saw with the eyes, like you saw, that is what Toby's Spider-Man means to be. Like for whatever reason, like there's just so much sentimental nostalgia, love, and like emotion when I see Tom's Spider-Man, and that's what I see when I see Tom going through all his Toby going through all his like journeys as Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
and I think
Goblin stabs Toby. And like I knew he wasn't gonna die because this isn't Toby's story.
I honestly thought he was gonna die though. I actually did.
It's not Toby's
I honestly
story.
thought it. I know it's not Toby's story, and it would totally take away. But I'm glad to see him.
The multiverse is breaking up. All the villains are trying to come through, and we see silhouettes of villains.
I only saw Rhino. Sadly, what did you see?
I saw Scorpion.
We need to get Michael Mando. I know we can't anymore.
They had a classic Rhino, which makes me wish that we had a classic Rhino in the movie.
I know. Do you think they'd make it more of like an animal Rhino, like the face, or do you think the face would still be human, like in the comics? It needs to be human. Yeah.
And then like
hopefully they don't. Yeah.
Peter makes the ultimate decision.
It's sad.
And Doctor Strange says, "It's been nice knowing you, kid."
Yeah, and it's bittersweet, but it's like at least they still know who Spider-Man is. Like Doctor Strange still knows who like Spider-Man is because he didn't fight Thanos with Peter. He fought Thanos with Spider-Man, and Happy knows Aunt May through Spider-Man, not Peter, at the end. So it was nice to see that he wasn't completely erased. Like it'd be so sad for nobody to remember Peter. But at least people still remember Spider-Man.
Like he promised Ned and MJ he would find them again, but then he chose not to tell them. Because
their life was like better off without them. It's so sad. But that is actually why I think he'd become Hobgoblin, because like what if without Peter, like something happens in his life where he needed someone like Peter in his life. And then when he fights Spider-Man, because Ned is very smart, it's even harder for Spider-Man to fight because if Spider-Man's defeating Ned.
Yeah, and I don't know. I honestly don't see Ned becoming Hobgoblin.
Dude, I have a Lego of him somewhere. I don't know if I still have him. I don't think I do. It's somewhere around here.
He's Peter Parker, Spider-Man, all anew at the end.
Yeah.
Leading to this next trilogy. Who knows what they're gonna do?
Oh man. Apparently Tom said he's taking a break from acting. I doubt it'll be very long. Breaks can be short or long. He's probably just taking a mental refresh from that, because that's probably gonna be hard to top that. That's gonna be some of his best work he's ever done in his life, acting wise. Did you hear about that? Like him taking a break from acting? Yeah, pretty crazy. I doubt it'll take long, but Yeah. Soon. Soon.
And I just love how Toby and Andrew just peacefully go away, like do that and everything.
Like, what else are they gonna say? They're just gonna leave.
Oh my gosh, No Way Home. There are no words.
I want to bring something up that I forgot though. When Toby and Tom, no, excuse me, Toby and Andrew, so many names, looked at each other and like turned. Do you think that was like a Spidey sense thing with like Miles, like kind of thing, like, or like why did they jump up and like web each other? Do you think they sensed each other's spider sense?
Probably, yeah.
I was really confused. I thought like were they friends like in their old ones or have they had a thing? But I'm like no, and I'm like the only thing that would probably actually make sense is they could sense each other's spider sense. Maybe I don't know. Don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, connect. Yeah, because they did that in Spider-Verse, so it would make sense to do that there.
Right. Yeah. That movie though, it's hard to live up to such hype. But if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be a Marvel movie because they knocked it out of the park. They nailed it.
Aunt May's grave, it had the same like quote from the one in the game.
What? No. What did it say?
When you help someone, you help everyone. That's written on Aunt May's grave in the game and the movie too.
And they brought back in Feast, which was something I needed to see with Aunt May.
Yes.
I need Aunt May. Yeah. She needed that. She needed that more like Aunt May's supposed to be like Peter's I'm losing my words, but aunt, someone he looks up to, and I think her helping people with Feast, great responsibility. This was the Aunt May I was hoping for, and like I couldn't ask for more. She nailed it.
Yeah, Feast.
Yeah.
Mr. Negative has not been done in a movie. Maybe they could.
I feel like it'd be really cool. I feel like they probably wait with their whole like don't want to do something that's already been seen before thing, but I would not complain if we got to see Mr. Negative. I think it'd be a really cool villain.
I think Black Cat's a must.
I think they throw in Black Cat when do you think Spider-Man in some of his later movies is gonna get the symbiote? Do you think that's gonna happen?
Well,
personally,
the post-credit scene happened for a reason.
Yeah, it happened for a reason. So I think she would probably show up, probably be established somewhere, and kind of like in the Spectacular Spider-Man series. I don't know if you've seen the cartoon, but Peter falls in love with Black Cat when he's in the symbiote, because the only thing that's really holds him back is his like morals, but like whenever you lose some of that with the symbiote, he has nothing else to deny to be in a relationship.
Peter is growing up more. He's going into college. It's more kind of age appropriate to do something like Black Cat.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Because I think even in the Spectacular Spider-Man series, he was still like under 18, and like she had no idea, and like she was really mad. Yeah, which would be kind of awkward to see on screen. And I don't think we will see that because like you said, he's going into college. So yeah.
So many Spider-Man movies. I think we should give a ranking.
Okay. Oh, snap. Okay. This is so hard.
Yeah, I'll do my ranking. From least favorite to favorite of all Spider-Man movies. Spider-Man 3.
Yes.
Spider-Man
2,
okay. Spider-Man. Then The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Amazing Spider-Man. Into the Spider-Verse. Homecoming. Far From Home. And number 1, No Way Home.
No Way Home. Okay. So from least favorite to favorite. Well, actually, I'm going to have to go to favorites because I love them all. Okay. My most favorite movie out of all of them is Spider-Man No Way Home. And then I think it's Into the Spider-Verse. And then I think it's Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 1. Then it's The Amazing Spider-Man 1. And then I think Spider-Man... this is really hard. Spider-Man... Probably Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 3, and then Far From Home.
Spider-Man 3.
Oh, excuse me. I meant Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 3, and then Far From Home, and then Homecoming. Yeah, Homecoming's my least favorite, but I love them all. I'd watch them all any day. But they're so good. But I think we can agree Spider-Man No Way Home was absolutely incredible. Yeah.
And I'd like to list some of my favorite Spidey actors from favorite down.
I was about to say the same thing,
number
actually.
1, Tom Holland. Number 2, Yuri Lowenthal from the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
I'm gonna
great.
count that.
Yeah, count it. Count it all. By means.
Number 3, Andrew Garfield.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4, Josh Keaton, who's voiced him in
Yes.
many things. And
Yeah,
then
Josh Keaton's great.
There are many other Spidey actors, but at number 5, I'll just put Toby.
All right. It's gonna be a really hard ranking for me. So I will go. I think my most favorites. Like, see, it's a constant battle between Toby or Andrew. I'm just gonna say Toby is my favorite. Then it's Andrew. And then if we're counting the PS5, I'll throw in probably a Yuri PS5. And then I think okay, here's the thing. Tom isn't my least favorite Spider-Man. He's just my least favorite Spider-Man. You know, I don't hate Tom, but like I like some of the other ones more. But in this third movie, he was incredible. I'd probably put Tom there, and I don't know. It's so hard to tell. But they all do bring something unique and amazing to the Spider-Man table. It's funny how different ours are. Like Toby's my favorite. Toby's your least favorite. Tom's your favorite. Tom's my least favorite. But we can find common ground in most of them with some great points. And No Way Home was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was
great.
Awesome. No.
This was incredible. This was long overdue. I haven't really pitched an idea to you, but I've wanted to find just something we could collab on because, dude, and this is like our real time, first time having like an actual like live conversation. Like that's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we've been talking
on
forever.
Opposite sides of the world.
I know, and dude, we came together probably for the best topic we could talk about, and that's Spider-Man, dude. That was fun.
Maybe we could do this again sometime for who knows what.
Dude,
but,
yes, anything. Just let me know, and we'll do this more. Anything.
We went well over an hour, but oh well.
Hey, we had to talk about like all the Spider-Man movies that hit the theaters, dude. I say anything under like 8 hours is pretty good. Like we did pretty good considering how much we had to talk about and how passionate we are about the character.
Yeah. So I hope you all liked our discussion.
Mm-hmm.
It was lengthy and good.
It was a blast.
Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I think they'll love it too. I think everyone watching this will love this. This was so good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think of our discussion? What do you think of all the Spider-Man movies? Who's your favorite Spider-Man? What do you want to see from the next MCU Spider-Man trilogy?
Yes. Comment down below, guys. Let us know.
You want to plug your channel, Noah?
Yeah, I'm Noah Stricklin. I do a lot of things. I kind of, whatever I think about recording, so gaming, awesome not interviews, but talks like this, just kind of anything. And that was incredible, and it was such a blast talking to you, man.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Let us know what you thought in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to Noah. And remember,
and subscribe to
with
Red.
great power comes great responsibility.
Responsibility.